Hey, everybody. So, how many of you follow or have heard of or know anything about Jeff Brown? He's just come into my awareness probably over the last maybe 6 months or a year. And I think I've heard about him for a while, but I've really started, I guess, paying more attention to some of the things that he's saying. And so I follow him on Facebook, and every day there's a new little snippet, and he's written several books. He's got a lot of information out there, and I find him fascinating. I actually find him very fascinating. One of the things that he really talks about quite a bit is the concept of enrealment. And he's comparing that and contrasting it to the idea of enlightenment. So instead of enlightenment, he is suggesting that we take a look at our ability to reach and obtain enrealment. Being real, well-rounded human beings in these bodies, in this physical existence that we've come here on this planet to experience this time. And I find it very intriguing, and while I will admit, I have not read everything that he's written, and I don't know that I agree with everything that he's written, there are a few concepts that he talks about that I do agree with. And one of them is the idea that in very many teachings in what we call the New Age movement, this movement of love and light, that we can get caught up in the idea that everything that we experience needs to be of love and light, and that the opposite side of that, the fears, the darker things that we experience, griefs, even to the extent of abuses, all of these things that we experience as human beings. What he is saying is that the idea of not getting real with what we have experienced on all levels, but trying to make it all be love and light and beautiful, doesn't allow us to become real, to reach that state of enrealment. And I'm sure I'm doing him a great disservice in the way that I am expressing this, but I'm doing the best that I can with my limited knowledge of his ideas. So I will kind of step back from Jeff Brown's ideas and share a little bit of my own. My feeling is, and I have been taught in many of the traditions that I've looked at, is that we are here to experience this human form in all its glory. And sometimes what goes along with being human are those things that we as humans really want to avoid, like anger, fear, anxiety, and even experiences that are put on us maybe by other people, having been abused or having been assaulted or any of these things. And so while I'm not saying that these things that we experience are good, I am saying it is part of our reality. It is part of what we deal with on an everyday basis. And to say to someone who has been abused or who has been assaulted or victimized in any way, that it is all perfect and it is all good, and that's the way to be enlightened, is to see the good in it. I think does a disservice to the wholeness of our human experience. There's been a lot out there kind of popping up around about empathy and about vulnerability and all of these things as well. And all of this goes hand in hand. But to put off on someone who has experienced something horrific or even just mildly uncomfortable, but to suggest that they brought it on themselves as a means to learn a lesson and that it's all perfect and it's all beautiful, I think does a great disservice to the experience itself and to the ability to feel what we feel, which may be sorrow, which may be anger, which may be really uncomfortable, which may be all of these things. But for us to be able to feel these things, and only when someone truly can feel the wholeness of any given situation, the good and the bad, as we label it as humans, only when we can really dig into both sides of it can we feel that wholeness, can we feel complete with it. So a lot of the teachings that I look at are the teachings that say, if something happens in your life and you're sad, it's okay to be sad. You don't have to put on a happy face. You don't have to pretend that it's all love and light and glitter dust and sparkly butterfly wings. It's just okay to be where you are. It's okay to be sad. It's okay to have your feelings hurt. All of these things are okay. To be in it, to connect to those feelings, to learn what it is that we need to learn by being in those feelings, by really feeling our sorrow, to understand what it is to feel sorrow, and then to move through to the other side of that, to step back again into a place of joy, into a place of love, is very, very different from being told you should not feel sadness and you should not feel sorrow. You should just always be love and light. Because, as we come from that light, we have experienced where everything is light. We have experienced where everything is pure love and pure light, and that's where we come from. We come here to experience the wholeness of a whole, complete human experience. So, I'm just suggesting that let's not brush the things that we have labeled as bad, as negative, under the carpet and not deal with it. Let's deal with it. Let's talk about it. Let's get real about it. Let's get some understanding about what we feel, and let's become whole. Let's become whole human beings as we learn these lessons, as we move forward. And like Jeff Brown suggests, let's move into enrealment and what it means to be a real, whole, well-rounded human being. I would love to hear your thoughts on it. Have a great day, everybody. Bye-bye.